Hi everyone, welcome to Code Kamkaj YouTube channel. I hope everybody are doing good. In the last video, we had just discussed about introduction of GitHub Actions, and today's video we will be discussing about the main key features into the GitHub Actions are GitHub Actions components. So I brought the list of GitHub Actions components, and we will discuss one by one. So stay tuned till this video, and if you like my explanation, I request you to like, share, subscribe to Code Kamkaj YouTube channel. So I brought few main GitHub Actions components list. So there are other components also available, but we can give less priority for that. So we can cover off these all components where we can use these components while we are handling the GitHub Actions pipelines and all. So we use these all components very frequently. That's why I thought to bring it up. So the first component here is the workflow. So in a GitHub Actions, a workflow is a set of automated tasks that we can define in a YAML file to manage our continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous delivery process. Which means if you wanted to create a pipeline in GitHub Actions, you require to write YAML file as per the GitHub Actions defined standards to run your combination of a task, or you can call it as a pipeline. So that's just introduction about workflow. And the second one we have events. So in a GitHub Actions, events are a thing that happens in your repository, like pushing code or pulling, rising or opening a pull request. So that makes a workflow to run automatically. So for example, when you push a new code to GitHub, so an event can trigger a workflow to test your source code. So this kind of way you can utilize the event component into your GitHub Actions. Another way, like when someone opens a pull request, so the pull request that can trigger another workflow to check if everything is working well into that pull request, and it will go and check all your code changes or code scannings, like you can integrate into your code QL scanners into your workflows. So events are like any changes happen into your GitHub repository as per the requirement, you can enable the events triggers into your workflows. So that's the biggest advantage of events into your GitHub Actions, which means any small change are occurred into your GitHub repository. So accordingly, you can customize it. What kind of operation you should perform by the help of GitHub Actions. That's the beauty of events. And the next we have the jobs. So in a GitHub Actions, jobs are like individual task that runs into the workflow. So each job can doing things like you can use for testing, building, and deploying into your projects. So jobs are made upon a combination of steps, which means if you mixed up the multiple steps, we can call it as a single job. And each job can run separate environment, so each job can run one after other job, or it will can run parallelly into the single pipeline. So that's the beauty of jobs. You can utilize, you can take advantage of it, you can customize it as per your requirement. And I had gone through in my experiences where I need to run all the jobs parallelly, and I have gone through such a situation where I need to run a job one after another. So that's why it's important to understand what is meant by job. And that's the it's kind of combination of steps that you have mentioned, you can call it as a job in a short way, I can tell you. And the next we have the steps. In a GitHub action, steps are the individual task that runs within a job, so that you can understand jobs and steps are interlinked. So each steps can perform actions like running your command or checking your code from your GitHub repository and initializing the dependencies and performing any command that you have specified into your workflow. So each steps runs in order, one after other into your workflow. So steps are like a small actions, like a command, as I mentioned. You can make up a job in that. You can specify a bunch of steps. You can make it as a job inside it. Like we can use it for checking out a code, installing a dependencies, running a test. So whatever operation you would like to perform, you can pass it as a command. So into the each steps. So that's the beauty of steps, where we exactly pass our core command line or core core kind of action that we perform. So here we perform it into the GitHub action. So it is exactly at the steps. And the next, we have the environment variable. So environment variable in GitHub Actions are like the values that you can use it to store such a nonsense information. You can add that environment variable into your YAML file. You can use it as a CSCD variable. So, and you can use a global variable also. That kind of flexibility we have into your YAML file. So as already know, like a variable is something that you are assigning some values to the respected thing. So you can pass it into your environment variable of your YAML file. And the next, we have the secrets. In the GitHub Actions, secrets are like a sensitive piece of information, so it applies everywhere. Like it's so secrets can be like your API keys, it can be your passwords, it can be your access token, and that you would like to keep it as a private, and you would like to keep it as a secure instead of hard coding them into your YAML files or in your source code. So you can, by the help of GitHub Actions, you can store them into the secrets, and you can refer them securely during the your pipeline execution, or you can securely refer secrets into your CI/CD process. And the next, we have the caches. So cache in a GitHub Actions is a way we can store files or data that you don't want to have to download multiple times or rebuilding them every time. So when you run your workflow, so it will can refer all the data which is already cached into your GitHub Actions. So with the help of this, you can speed up your entire workflow by reusing the things like dependencies or build files or any other files that you have cached. And the next, we have the artifacts. So artifacts in a GitHub Actions or like data or files that you would like to save or share after your workflow runs. Which means once you have executed your job, so it will generate a certain amount of file or data so that you can refer it like your build outputs or test reports or any other files. So that situation, you can use artifacts, you can read it what your job has executed, and accordingly can take the actions whether this job has executed successfully or not. Even you can read it into your pipeline log, but this artifact will give the entire information. So, and if the action has completed, so it generally generate the files or data. So you can take advantage of this artifact component. You can save you all the files, you can read it, or you can look for your test reports or outputs of your job. So there are a bunch of usefulness is there for artifacts. You can mainly use for debugging process. At the end, we have the runners in GitHub Actions. So like a runner is a machine or environment that you like to run your workflows or jobs on top of it. So it can be either hosted by a GitHub runner, or it can use for self-hosted runner, so you can utilize it. Which means from top to till the artifacts, whatever things we have discussed, that we're running a pipeline, creating the workflows, running the, by the help of events, you can create the pipeline, job steps, everything. All the components we are going to call it as workflows, and we are writing it as per your customization, as per your requirement, and all the steps are going to run on this runner. So runner is not nothing. It's not a new word. Like if you are familiar with the Jenkins, you can call it as a slave, and you can, if you are familiar with the GitHub Actions, you can call it as a GitLab runner. Similar like an Azure DevOps. So whatever operation that we would like to run, like in terms of CI/CD, we should have to have a server. So that server is called as runner. We bind that runner into our GitHub Action. So once you bind it, you can run your workflows on top of it, and you can execute your pipelines, and you can happily see your outputs. So this is all the majorly used components in GitHub Actions. So I brought you for like in your note that I can explain in an easy way, and you can understand. You can gain the knowledge on top of GitHub Actions. So I'm going to stop this video here. I hope this video make you informative, and if you like my explanation, again, I'm requesting you to share, like, and subscribe to Code Kamkaz YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, I request you to drop your comments in comment section. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.